in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors.
Computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC way.
Last year we did so it's very nice.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come, and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
first or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
Current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized and I'm pretty happy to be here.
think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back.
For, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
Is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized, and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized, and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come, and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of
more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially. And yeah, it's well organized, and I'm pretty happy to be here.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
first or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing. Being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists, we think it's a great forum and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized and I'm pretty happy to be here.
think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing. We are right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcemements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
It is very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially, and yeah, it's well organized, and I'm pretty happy to be here.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come, and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing, being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
very current. It really catches the trends in the industry, and therefore it becomes a very relevant show for the exhibitors as well as people who come here to participate.
Now we're seeing a lot more inclusion of other elements, such as the cloud computing forum that we just took part of, and a lot of other elements that are beyond just the kind of PC type world. So we think it's more reflective of the way the world of technology is evolving, more comprehensive.
First or second important show for the IT technology, so you can meet the suppliers easy here.
I think it's even bigger than last year. We did good business so far, so it's very nice.
Really interesting for us to find new partners from overseas, from Taiwan especially. And,
ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the
here.
Computex Forum on Technology Disruption. This afternoon's program will begin in 3 minutes. We would like to ask you to please be seated. This afternoon's program will begin momentarily. Thank you.
I think it's important. I mean, I think it's a great show. Every year that I come, and every year I'm not disappointed, so it's good.
Welcome structure is more professional. Visitors feel like very comfortable. I will come back next year for sure.
Computex focusing on computing. Being right here in the hub and the heart of where computing is developed and the largest market exists. We think it's a great forum, and we're really happy to be here.
We don't see this just a tech show for Taiwan. It's actually a tech show for the whole Asia Pacific area. So that's how important we see this Computex.
It's really a gathering point and a place for, I think, significant product announcements and releases. So it's one of the key spots on the calendar where people really build their product announcements around. So it's one of the key places to go and show your wares.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the Computex Forum on Technology Disruption. This forum brings together the world's top game-changing enterprises who will share their experience in identifying and capitalizing on emerging technologies that have the potential to disrupt the status quo and alter the way people live and work. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us now invite Executive Vice President of Titra, Mr. Walter Ye, to deliver his welcoming address and introduce the speakers of this afternoon's forum. So let us give him a very warm welcome.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable speakers. I would like to, on behalf of TITRA, organizer of Computex, I would like to welcome all of you to this forum. And Computex, this year, we have around 1,700 companies to participate. And we also have expect 38,000 international visitors coming to Taiwan for business. So Computex is a platform for doing business, as a platform for procurement and also ICT business. And in last few years, Computex has transformed into a platform for new products announcements. This year, we have 40 new product announcements from top brands, from Taiwan, also from worldwide. Like yesterday, we have new products announcements from ASUS, from Ford, from TITRA, of course, and Gigabyte. And the next few days, we also going to have new product announcements from like Intel, Microsoft, and so on, ARM. So it is a very good platform for new product developments. And also, the new trend for technology is also very important part for this Computex. We try every efforts to invite international speakers to Taiwan to share with us knowledge of ICT, the latest developments in ICT industry. So we hope the Computex become a new product, new technology platform for the industry. So today, we are so great that we have speakers to share with us their knowledge and their expertise. And we have the speakers. The first speaker, keynote speaker is co-founder and CEO of KKBOX, Mr. Chris Lin. Chris Lin, where? Okay, he's preparing, okay. And Mr. Lin has led KKBOX into the largest digital music subscription services in Asia. And KKBOX features more than 10 million music tracks from over 500 major and local music labels and publishers. It also hosts the largest Chinese music library in the world. Mr. Lin speaks on KKBOX's plan to reinvent music consumption. And the next speaker is the leader of group and senior technical vehicle design and infotronics at Ford Research and Innovation. And Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, I think it's correct, yeah. And Mr. Prasad is the person in charge of the Ford What's Next, whose revolutionary mindset has led to the developments of Ford Sync, SYNC. Today, Mr. Prasad discusses Ford's commitment to open source technology. In addition, it is our pleasure to have the co-founder and CTO of SmartSense, Mr. Jeff Hedges. SmartSense was named one of the world's most innovative company by Fast Company in February this year. So congratulate. And according to Business Insiders, it is also one of the most popular targets for Internet of Things investment. Jeff explores how the Internet of Things will change the way we live and work. Internet of Things is the main subject, main theme of this year's Computex. We have about 20% of our exhibitors have relation with IoT. So we welcome, after the speech, after this forum, we welcome you to visit our booth in Nangang and also here at the Taipei World Trade Center. And we are glad to have the founder and CEO of Kuiper, Mr. Masayuki Watanabe, correct? Yeah. And Mr. Watanabe is one of the co-founders of DeNA, a Japanese mobile gaming giant. After he left DeNA, he founded Quikr, a London-based company which provides e-learning services for over 8.5 million students, and Mr. Watanabe shares his precious experience on building a global education platform with us. Next, we have Mr. Ted Chang, the CTO and VP of Quanta Computer. Yes. He also serves as the president of Quanta Research Institute, QRI, for advanced technology research and future product development. In the year 2004, Mr. Chang initiated Quanta Research Collaboration Project with MIT, not made in Taiwan, it's Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and has led the project for the past decade. Mr. Chang profiles his insight on today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Last but not least, Mr. Akira Tanaka. Tanaka-san, yeah. Co-founder and managing partner of Infinity Venture Partners, hosts this year's panel discussion. And Infinity Venture Partner is an early-stage venture capital fund that is focused on consumer internet companies in China and in Japan. And Mr. Tanaka holds an influential role in the venture circle in Asia. These talks, I believe, will be very helpful to all of you. So thank you, all these honorable speakers who want to come here to share with us. And thank you, all the audience here for this Computex forum. This year, we have more than 100 forums. So forum is a very important part of Computex. Thank you very much for your support, and wish you, everyone, have a good luck and success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ye, for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker of the forum will be Mr. Chris Lin, CEO of KKBOX. Chris is committed to providing a platform for people to easily enjoy and share music with friends anywhere and anytime. With KKBOX delivering amazing results in Taiwan, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand as Asia's leading brand on online music streaming services, Chris continues to lead the corporate development strategies, product development, and overseas expansion. The topic of his talk today will be embracing the digital storm. So let us give him a very warm welcome.
Well, thanks. I'm Taiwanese, and then I'm very thankful for Taitra for actually inviting me. This is a very hardware-centric event, and then inviting me, especially for a person who doesn't wear a suit and tie. So anyhow, I hope I'm here to entertain everyone. So, okay, I I'm in the music industry, so everyone please relax. So no hardware. And this is about disruption, and I actually don't have a theory of disruption. So I thought the best thing is for me to actually share with everyone our story of how we got here today. So a little bit of a background in Mandarin is called 工商服务时间. So KKBOX is actually originated from Taiwan. We're the top music streaming platform in Asia. And we're in these countries. There's a reason why we're not in China, because we're in a culture business, and we're sort of, well, not welcomed in China in anyhow, because I don't think the Chinese government would be very happy in typing in the search stream and say Taiwan 独立音乐, Taiwan independent music. Although, I won't go into that, okay, since my speech is being streamed online right now. So we're in these countries, and we've got 10 million users along Asia. So what we do is very simple. 1 monthly fee, unlimited music streaming. I think most of you, if you're not from Asia, you probably have heard of Spotify, and people like to call it Spotify of Asia. But in reality, we started it before Spotify, much, much earlier. So this is what we do. And we have music from more than 500 music labels, including the international labels and local labels from Taiwan, Thailand, everywhere in Asia. And we have about more than 10 million songs in our database. And this is really important because we're Asian-based, so we also have the most comprehensive Asian music libraries comparing to any other platforms in the world. So enough about us. Let me just go into how we actually started it. So as I said in the beginning, I have no theory of disruption. So probably along sharing my story about KKBOX, you will find points here and there that you might find helpful for you or for you to link up what we were doing and how we're connected with disruption. So first of all, let's go back to year 2004. That's actually where we had this idea of doing digital music. So if you would, backtrack your memory to 2004, that is the year that Apple launched, iTunes Music Store, a so-called pay-per-download model. And that single move of Steve Jobs, signing contract with the major 4 labels, now it's major 3, actually sends a death note to the physical CD vendors. So now we all know what happened, but at that time, we were thinking, okay, if this is happening in the United States and in Europe, what can we do here in Asia to actually also disrupt the music industry? But for music, and this is just an example of the screenshot that I'm showing. There are many, many, probably hundreds or thousands of internet sites that offers free music for people to download. This is an example. Everyone must know Baidu, Google of China. So what can we do to actually, embrace this opportunity to disrupt the music industry and actually to start off something that would become a real business? That has become the most important challenge for KKBOX. So we were thinking, if people don't want to pay for music, what is our chance? So we start thinking, how about having people pay for access that gets them free music? This idea isn't exactly brand new. Let me just give you an example. Disneyland. I remember the first time I went to Disneyland, when I was little in elementary school. You go into Disneyland, but you still need to pay tickets for each ride. But then they changed the business model. You pay for an access, and all the rides are free. This is one of the examples. People pay for access, and you can visit all the facilities unlimitedly, right? And this you must be familiar with, the fitness industry. You pay for an access, a monthly fee. You can use all the equipment, shower, treadmill. So this isn't really new, but how about applying this to music? We thought it would work. So we immediately realized that the key for selling access are these three things. First of all, we need to focus on selling convenience, selling quality, and most importantly, selling the sense of privilege. So if tap water is almost free, why would people pay for bottled water? Essentially, convenience and quality, okay? But tap water doesn't really say anything about privilege, but this is really important for KKBOX, for us to create this sense of convenience, quality, and privilege. So back in 2004, when I go around and tell people streaming is actually more advanced than download, people actually didn't believe our idea. Back in 2004, when I visited a lot of venture capitalists in Taiwan and also overseas, they actually dumped our idea, and then we never got investment interest, except for some very visionary venture capitalists who eventually invested in us. So nobody believed streaming was a more advanced idea than download. People believed that they need to own music files, But let me just give you an analogy. This is what we thought. This is download. This is streaming. That's what we believed in. And today, I don't need to tell you about this, because when Apple bought Beats, it proves that we were right. Our idea about music streaming, giving people the access would actually free up the music consumption and actually makes everything accessible, affordable, and enjoyable. That is our mission right now, and it has been our mission for the past 8 years. So the journey starts. This is what we originally thought. So we had this idea of liberating music, selling access, making people pay for music to get free music. So this is what we thought. This is a great idea. This is a great pitch to music labels who are really busy fighting piracy. This is really a better way of making everything work. But in reality, our journey was more like this, So let me begin by our journey, which is what I call Music Copyright 101. So the first thing for us to do music business is very obvious. We need to get copyrights. We're not going to do pirated business. We're not going to put unlicensed music onto our platform and having people stream for free, right? So then soon we find out each song is not just having one person that we need to talk to. Each music song actually has 4 rights. You have recording rights, you have publishing rights, and these rights also have 2 separate rights. One's called mechanical rights, and one's called public transmission rights. I won't go into the detail about this. This is really boring. But, long story short, we need to essentially talk to 4 different parties for each song. Imagine we have 10 million songs, okay? But fortunately, in some countries, some of these individual rights are actually hosted by the same organization, okay? How about royalty? When people pay a monthly fee, it's like going to an all-you-can-eat restaurant, right? How do we share revenue to all these individual copyright owners, to these 4 individuals who has the copyrights? So it ends up, we had to do this whichever higher thing. On the left-hand side, we need to pay what the industry call a per stream royalty, which means every time you click on the song, we need to pay a small fee to the music labels, right? And on the right-hand side, there's also something called the pro rata market share, revenue share. What that means is, the music labels don't really trust us, the technology providers, by just sharing per stream to them. per stream count to them, because they would always think, hey, you're the one that's having all the data. You're the one who is counting all the streams. How do I know if you're lying to me or not on the number of total streams? So they're saying that, okay, I want a portion of your revenue, and I want to share, pro rata of the revenue that accounts for that song that's being streamed. So it ended up, they want two numbers. So at the end of the month, every month, we need to give them two numbers, and they take whichever higher. Okay? So imagine this royalty model combined with all these rights holders. So we were a startup, and we need to build this copyright clearance mechanism. This was very, very difficult for us. And in fact, in between the year 2007 to 2011, me personally and a co-founder of my partner, also a co-founder of KKBOX, were engaged in more than 10 lawsuits in Taiwan. And these 10 lawsuits are all criminal. And I'm happy that these all got cleared up. And we either paid or we either, win the lawsuit. So this was not a very pretty memory for myself. It was actually very difficult. And then along building these platform systems for copyright clearance, we're also building this, team of curation team. We have a team of very professional editors of music who would do music critiques, exclusive interviews, exclusive tracks, sort of what people are talking about today, music curation, So we were doing it very early back on. So despite doing all that, for more than 4 years, we were still not taking off. We're still not getting enough members that we hoped for. So we came back to visit our assumption. This is what happened. Our mission was to actually make music more accessible, affordable, enjoyable, but we couldn't solve the first problem, accessible, because we're lacking mobility. A huge part of our traffic is actually, just PC-based. And you have, iPod and all these things, but we were missing mobility. But then finally this came along, smartphone, and everything just started taking off. You have 3G wireless network, smartphone, multi-touch screen, which just came naturally, and then we were just taking off like crazy. Okay, so now we were finally going to have accessibility, music anytime, any place, and any song you want. So I want to share you some interesting things, that's empowered by streaming. We have this thing called Listen With. What we were trying to do is actually to mimic this behavior. I'm sure all of you have this experience of sharing your earphone with your friends. So we just wanted to extend this experience infinitely. So if you are a KKBOX user, you can actually select, any song and listen with your friends. And that we bring artists actually to the equations. So I would say 80% of the hip-hop artists in the Chinese pop music world are actually KKBOX users, actually actively, listening songs with all users, listening with. So, Mayday, the super band, whenever they're online, there are actually 12,000 people listening with them along. They even did a television commercial with us. Let me show you this clip.
Let's music, KKBOX.
Okay, so that was one of the things, and then I want to talk to you about the value of data. We're all talking about big data. How is that related to KKBOX? Well, we're getting 10 billion streams every year. Okay, let me show you what the data looks like in KKBOX. This is a typical user, so we know when they're listening to music. Work hour. We know this person from their music listening behavior. They're actually listening to music while commuting. You know, we know people who are not going to sleep at night. You know, we know these people actually relocated somewhere else because their music behavior changed. You know, this guy probably, you know, music is on whenever he's awake. We also see this kind of behavior. We can clearly check this is a robot. You know, I won't tell more, but someone's doing that. And then we also have some music discovery. So in KKBOX, in any song that you're listening, you can actually hit the discovery button. We will use the data we have to bring the music that you like through some weird algorithm. So live concert. We're also in the live concert business because we know exactly who is listening to what at what moment and where they are, you know, what artists they like. So we're going to disrupt the live concert industry as well, you know, because we're the one that's closest to music behavior of all the consumers. So we're in this business right now, and then, you know, we are actually very confident and we're prepared to be organizing concerts. We're to have a way to disrupt the pricing and disrupt the way that we sell tickets, and also we'll be bringing concerts, you know, live through internet broadcasting. So anyhow, I just want to share with you, you know, disruption is crisis. And if you translate that into a Chinese word, it's actually 50% danger and 50% opportunity. So that's all I have today. You know, I know time is running up, so thanks for having me. Thanks.
So Chris, thank you very much for joining us today. The next speaker of the forum will be Mr. Venkatesh Prasad, the Group and Senior Technical Leader of Vehicle Design and Infotronics for Ford Research and Innovation, the birthplace of Ford Sync. Mr. Prasad is known as Ford's What's Next guy, responsible for the research, architecture, standards, applications, development, and vehicle system integration of electrical, electronics, and embedded software technologies. The topic of his presentation today will be opening innovation, fueling future mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Prasad.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. And let me just get this up so I can see the right slides up there, right? There's a one for the Ford one here. I'm looking for the right one up there. But really, it's a pleasure to be here at Computex, and it's events like these that give us a real good opportunity to share a little bit about what we are doing. And when we do things, we do things on a very global basis, whether it's cars or trucks or all the services around them. So this is really a terrific opportunity for us to be here and to be able to share some of our thoughts with you. Was there content that we were planning to be showing through here? I thought I saw it up there. But I could just continue on. At Ford, we really believe that this kind of knowledge of sharing, especially what we do on our side of the business, on an open platform, allows for innovation and allows for really taking a vision that might be within the firm and adding it to an aspiration that we all have around the globe, whether it's around the conveniences around mobility or just personal mobility itself, for sort of additional benefits that all of us are seeking as we go about our daily lives. So today I share with you the simple vision here about how we can take our aspirations to make the desirable affordable, and how we are really embarking on a journey that's really exciting and getting us all there. I'll also share with you some aspects of what we're doing with respect to just opening innovation and what that means. And what that means in the context of developing communities of practice both outside of the firm and certainly within firm, and how that can have a transnational impact in terms of how we deliver products and services. I think it's really, really important to sort of acknowledge and embrace the fact that almost everything we want to know is very likely sitting outside of any one firm, or at least within, outside of the boundaries of the control of any one firm. And so many of the things that we want to do, either as a firm or working in collaboration with others, really have to be done working in a collaborative manner and in ways in which we have never really experienced before. Part of the reason for that is the nature with which technology itself has been democratized and the tools for innovation have been democratized. And I'll spend a few minutes on that. As we see, as we look around the world, every day we sort of see a great need for people to be able to express their sense of freedom, whether it's mobility or whether it's about how they transact and purchase and go about their decision making as consumers. And so what we're really trying to address is this question of personal transportation along with the aspiration for being able to choose what you want, when you want, and wherever you want those services. And so if you sort of if you take a step back and look around, the International Transportation Forum estimates that we will see a growth, and a significant growth in the number of vehicles from the 1 billion that we have now to about 2 or 2.5 billion in not too many years out into the future, in fact, by mid-decade. And then you can only think of those numbers going up, whether it's 2.5 going to 3 or 4 billion. There's certainly a growth in the number of vehicles that are going to be manufactured. So in that sense, in that very broad sense, the automotive industry as a whole is a growth industry. And you'll see more and more of that sort of come to play. Having said that, it's also worthwhile looking at the growth of world population itself. And that number is also on a growth trajectory, going up from 7 to 8 to 9 and 9.6, if you will, by 2050. This is based on a UN report. And so if you sort of do the simple sort of math, it's really improbable to think of 9.6 billion people all owning cars. There just wouldn't be enough capacity to be able to accommodate all those cars. And so we have sort of embraced that future in the spirit of really saying our future as a Ford Motor Company, as a manufacturer of vehicles, of cars and trucks for the last 111 years, is not about making more cars and making more trucks. It's really about doing that and going beyond that and offering services that are associated with that. It's not just about making more cars and more trucks. So I think we're really going to see that big transformation. I like the theme that was shown up there about disruption. And this is a fundamental disruptor, where you look at a vehicle manufacturer taking a serious look at not just building cars and trucks, but being able to build services and bring together the opportunity of ownership, whether it's through an individual sort of direct product ownership experience or a shared ownership experience. So these are fundamental changes that are really ahead of us and offer us a tremendous opportunity to work together and build that future. So we have spent some time and developed a comprehensive vision of how that future will roll out and how that future is really taking on a task that's much larger than any one company. This is really a task that's aimed at reducing global gridlock, as was well stated by Bill Ford some years ago. If you look at 9+ billion people distributed into the urban areas of the future, you're going to see something like 2/3 of the world population in urban areas. That would account to about 5.4 billion people in urban areas. And so as we look into that urban future, there's going to be a number of opportunities to be able to share the ownership associated with cars, to be able to share the rides required to go from A to B. And so these models of shared ownership, of shared driving experiences, of even things such as being able to park a car. It's one thing to own a car, but it's another thing entirely to be able to park a car and to be able to afford the ownership of the car. So looking at what it means to offer services that tie all these together is at the central sort of focus of what we're all up to and what we do. So we've sort of taken a look at these challenges that we have and have sort of placed them along a timeline that go from sort of the very near term to a little bit further out. And I think we see that the greatest challenges we face is in being able to keep the pace of market innovation. On the one side, being a consumer-focused company and being able to deliver consumer products and services, and on the other side, being able to ensure that everything we do is in compliance with or ahead of the challenge we face with respect to regulation or with respect to ensuring that the right kinds of consistent sort of expectation is maintained, both on the regulatory side and on the consumer side. So I think our vision really is about responding to the question that Bill Ford had posed some time ago. What if we just continue building more cars and trucks without thinking about the impact on our planet and the way we live? So I think we are really committed to three parts of what we do. Clearly creating products that are desirable, absolutely ensuring that there's a strong business value proposition and a strong business associated with all that we do, but also ensuring that in everything we do on the product and the business side, that we are able to consistently make our contributions to a better world. So I think it's with this sort of profound question coming from the great-grandson of Henry Ford that we sort of embark on this journey and into the future. And I'll sort of expound on that because I think we are really in a very interesting stage where we have high tech coming at us and we have a number of sort of technology options. But really, I think one example in the recent past has been associated with a specific technology known as Sync, which is a connectivity technology, and it allows consumers to bring their favorite devices in, whether it's cell phones for sort of voice-activated calling or whether it has to do with playing music content. It allows for a peace of mind associated with being able to continue certain transactions, certain elements of your everyday mobility experience while you're in the car. So I think the real opportunity that we saw when Sync was developed and launched some years ago, in 2007 when it started off and then has now arrived here and is widely available and will be continuing to roll out, is really the ability to connect two things. One is the devices and the technologies that consumers bring into their car. And the second is, of course, to connect the driver themselves to the car, because with that connectivity, you get the attention of the driver on the road, you get the hands on the wheels, and the journey becomes a safer one for everyone at hand, whether it's the driver, the passengers, or the roadside itself. So I think it's with that sort of focal point in mind, ensuring that the journey is always enjoyable, but the elements of safety are not compromised, is really where we are centered with what we're doing. I think there's a lot of sort of breakthrough challenges. This has to do with sort of really, in some sense, looking outside of our ecosystem, looking at some very unusual friends or partners, if you will. When we started off with the early work on Sync, we would never have thought that we'd be reaching outside of our standard ecosystem of our supply base to go develop our technologies and solutions, but we ended up doing that. We had a wide variety of partners that came to the value proposition that we offered, and with that we were able to reach out and make direct, deep inroads both into the consumer electronics world and into the world of software that's sort of built on top of the consumer electronics world. I think our previous speaker spoke about the big challenges around bringing software in, and speaking about software, we faced that as a car company. At some point, it almost felt that we were a software company making cars and trucks, and it still does, and that's only going to be growing as you see and look at the challenges associated with being able to build on all the opportunities that cars offer as a platform for innovation. Finally, I think I'd like to sort of touch upon a couple of points just in terms of the global community that we depend on and what open innovation means to all of us. I think it's really very clear to say that as you look around, everyone here has highly capable platforms of computing, whether it's a mobile phone or whether it's a laptop or a tablet. With that kind of power, you can essentially outweigh the power of any one corporation, any one firm. And so the democratization of innovation has already happened, in the words of Eric von Hippel, who's a pretty well-known professor at the MIT Sloan School, and has sort of written on this topic. So fundamentally what's happened is you don't need a large factory to make big change happen. You can see the world of startups right here in front of us. But you can start having disruptive changes happening from the most unusual of corners, because technologies such as computing power, technologies such as storage space, technologies such as communication power have all been democratized to a point where it's really affordable for a one-person sort of company or a small group. And so what we are is on a journey that is allowing the communication and the actual business alliances between individuals, small teams, and large players. A good example of that is what happened with Sync's technology with the incorporation of an application layer or an application programming layer called AppLink. That enabled an additional layer of players to participate with an otherwise well-developed and established sort of large player-driven technology platform. So through AppLink, which is really an API or an application programming interface for applications, you could have small firms, individuals, small firms, startups, directly writing applications on an automobile product. That is something that is really, in many aspects, today people are beginning to take that for granted, but 5 years ago it was pretty revolutionary. All this was founded and sort of summarized in a sort of neat way by looking at the entire ecosystem in terms of three important components: what was built in, what was brought in by consumers in the form of phones or other devices, and what was beamed in terms of content, whether it was music or something else. So what we've done is really taken this system here that involves the built-in, that's the best of interfaces and the best of user interaction modalities, whether it's touch or whether it's voice interaction, and combine that with the brought-in phones and electronics that consumers have, and couple that to what's beamed in, resulting now in a whole set of innovation around the automobile itself. This then sort of leads me to one important point, and that is working in the open source. What we found was that we could do everything we wanted to do through a very direct contractual agreement, but that was still limiting. If you looked at the way open source works, and I've spent quite a bit of time looking at that, it is probably the best possible source for understanding and building from failures, because large firms or individuals often don't want to share their failures because of repercussions. In the case of a large firm, the concern of sharing a failure is because of the investment cost, and that you might be then accused of not handling your business efficiently. In the case of an individual, it might be your reputation. When you work in the open source, people are very happy to share their failures because they say something doesn't work. Somebody else on the other end of the other side of the planet is happy to help out. What we've done is taken the notion of open source that's traditionally been associated with hardware, with software, to a new realm. And we have embraced open source hardware and placed a whole set of contributions that combine open source software and open source hardware through a platform called OpenXC. As the name suggests, everything about OpenXC is placed under the Creative Commons distribution, which is, you couldn't get a better way to declare that as being open. All the software is placed in a GitHub repository with a BSD licensing associated with it, and all the hardware is similarly placed in a GitHub repository, once again, with all the open source terms and conditions associated with it. So what it allows individuals to do, what it allows individual makers to do, is to start modifying products that consumers might be experiencing otherwise from manufacturers, right? So you can take a car, you can modify a car, believe it or not. You can get a wiper blade to tweet out and say that it's raining. You don't have to have a satellite telling you that, because oftentimes, in fact, satellites don't know whether it's raining on your street or not, but what if a wiper blade is able to tweet that? So you can start doing these really interesting things by just looking at open sourcing relevant aspects of data and creating hardware that makes that data come alive in a manner in which it can be utilized in an automobile. So I think this has been a really, really interesting journey for us, and I'd like to thank you all for your attention. Appreciate it.
We thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Prasad. The next speaker will be Mr. Jeff Haggins, co-founder and CTO of SmartThings. Jeff has always been excited to be a part of the next evolution of the Internet, building the open platform for the Internet of Things. SmartThings is redefining what it means for a home to be a smart home, such as combining the latest in computing, radio, manufacturing, cloud, and other technologies. Jeff focuses on cloud computing, scalability, big data, mesh networking, machine learning, and integrating SmartThings with all of the new connected consumer devices coming to the market. Previously, he held the role of CTO at Reach Local, SMB Live, Aptix, and Telecomputing, just to name a few. Jeff began his commercial software career in the ERP industry at JD Edwards and spent the first 13 years of his career at Lockheed working on innovative projects. And ladies and gentlemen, his talk today will focus on moving from cloud computing to fog computing, how the Internet of Things will change the way we live and the way we work. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome him with a very warm round of applause.
Thank you. So I want to talk today about the Internet of Things, and as we get started, I want to talk, if I can get the slide to work, on, there we go, how the Internet of Things is going to change the way we live and work. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about what is it? What is the Internet of Things? Because I think there's a misconception that the Internet of Things is about taking lots of devices and connecting them to the Internet, right? That makes sense. That's kind of what it sounds like. We're going to connect everything to the Internet. That's really not what the Internet of Things is about. The Internet of Things is not about getting everyday devices connected. The Internet of Things is about challenging the status quo. It's about rethinking, re-examining, and reinventing how the physical world works. Now, in order to do that, we have to connect things to the Internet, because in order to reinvent the physical world, there's a key ingredient that we're bringing to the physical world, and that key ingredient is software. Right? The way that we're going to reinvent how the physical world works is by applying software to help us change our physical world, to help us modify its behaviors, to help us solve real problems. And at my company, SmartThings, we spend a lot of time asking questions about examining the status quo and thinking about how things should really work. So I wanted to share with you a few of those questions. Questions like, why are lights controlled by a switch on the wall? That's the way they've always been controlled, right? You flip the switch on the wall, but why? Why do we need switches on a wall to control lights? Why can't we do it without switches? Why can't we do it with software that recognizes when a person walks in the room and it's dark, we can turn on a light, right? We don't need a switch. Or, why do I need a thermostat on the wall to control the temperature in my home? This one's really confusing, even though Nest was worth $3.2 billion. This one's really confusing because, in fact, you're not controlling the thermostat, right? The thermostat is controlling something else. So if I can control things wirelessly, why do I need a thermostat on the wall? Why can't I just wirelessly control the furnace or the boiler or the fan or the compressor, right? I don't need something mounted on the wall at all. Why do doors have keys, right? The front door to your home arguably has not changed in 3,000 years. And yet we're still building doors that have a key. They look a little bit different than these, for sure, but we don't need keys for doors. How about, why do cars have steering wheels? Right? Google is certainly challenging this. Our friends at Ford are certainly challenging this assumption, right? We actually shouldn't need cars with steering wheels. And there's a whole bunch of other challenges around cars that we could talk about too. Like, you know, once we get rid of the steering wheel, why do the seats need to face forward? Wouldn't it be safer to actually have them facing backwards, right? How about, why do I have to connect devices to my home network when I'm at home? More importantly, why do I have a home network, right? Why is that a thing? When I go home and I have to get on my Wi-Fi at home, why is that even a thing? Well, the technologists in the room, and there's a lot of them, right, will know the answer to this question, right? The answer is that we have this thing called IP addressing, and an IPv4, we couldn't even put enough devices on the internet. We had to have local networks. We had to have a thing called network address translation, and we're solving that with IPv6, but we still have to have a home network. Why? Because we have problems with spectrum in the airways. We don't have enough of it to actually connect all devices. But, you know, I would challenge you to think about this question and ask the question about whether 20 years from now there will be such a thing as a home network. And I hope to God the answer is no, because this is actually one of the big problems that we have in this Internet of Things world, is how we get things connected. I'm going to talk more about that in a few minutes. Oh, Amazon is working on this, right? Why are packages delivered by people? Right? Can't we get rid of that? Can't we have things that deliver other things to our homes, to our businesses, and get rid of the need to have people carrying boxes around? Right? Jeff Bezos wants to get rid of this and replace it with those little drones that are going to drop packages on you. How about this? Why do patients actually go to see a doctor in person? Right? I mean, the doctor, let me tell you, the doctor actually doesn't want to see you in person. You might be sick. If we could fix that, you know, then have the doctor be able to treat you without exposing them to whatever you have, that would be a good thing. Right? But it would also be way more efficient. Doctors could actually perhaps do more. This one makes me crazy given the business that I'm in, right? Because we spend a lot of time in our business controlling the lights, and yet I drive through cities at night and I see lots and lots of office buildings with the lights all turned on, and I think, wow, it's 2014. Shouldn't we be able to at least turn the lights off at night in an office building so that we're not wasting all of that energy? And yet, we still haven't quite solved all of these types of problems. Come on. What about simple things that could be important for you in your home? Like, why can't a house detect a leak, water leaking out of your pipes, out of your sink, and simply turn the water off to stop your home from being damaged, to prevent a disaster? This is a big one, right? Why does 33% of the food on this planet go to waste? Right? People don't necessarily think of all these things as problems for the Internet of Things, but they are, because it's the Internet of Things that is going to allow us to reinvent the physical world, to reinvent the supply chain for our production of food and solve problems like this. So why is the Internet of Things happening now? Why is this, this term is only about 2 years old. Why is the Internet of Things now happening? Well, there's a few reasons. Four big reasons. Number one, the smartphone, right? This has been one of the huge drivers in the Internet of Things, because it gives us a way to control our physical world from anywhere. Right? Now you can imagine that, 15 years ago, that if somebody came to my front door and pushed the doorbell, right, I wouldn't have gotten up and run to my home computer, right, and logged on to AOL to unlock the front door. Right? That wouldn't have happened, right? But now that I can have this device, right, and when the front door rings, it notifies me of and shows me a picture of who's standing at the front door, and I can push a button to unlock the door, right? The smartphone enabled that use case. It unlocked a use case that previously wouldn't have been possible. Changes in manufacturing clearly have had a huge impact here as manufacturing costs have come down, and now we're able to actually put connectivity into objects where that wasn't feasible before. Cloud computing is another important aspect of the Internet of Things. And I'll talk in a minute about fog computing, right? Where we're going to go from the clouds to the fog. It's just going to be everywhere. And that's actually going to be very important for the Internet of Things as well. And finally, big data, the ability to process large amounts of data and look for patterns in that data. All of these things are contributing to make now the right time to start to reinvent the physical world. But there are still some things missing. There are still some barriers to making all of this a reality, and I want to talk about a few of those barriers. Number one, we have to actually make it easier for software engineers. And if you're not a software engineer, this might be a little bit, you might not understand this. But in an Internet of Things world, we actually have to do something that has never been done before, which is to allow software engineers to control the physical world without having to understand how it's working. Control of devices, control of radios and connected things has historically been in the hands of a very special kind of software engineer, somebody that we call a firmware engineer, who understands how to write embedded software and how to interface with radios and how to talk to connected devices. But if we want to reinvent the physical world, we need to be able to innovate. We need to be able to innovate quickly. And that means that for software developers, we need to go from this to this. That when I want to turn on a light as a software engineer, I need to be able to say, switch dot on, and have the light turn on. And it shouldn't matter to me whether that light is connected with Zigbee or Z-Wave or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or 6LoWPAN or any of the other technologies for connecting devices. As a software engineer, I just want to say, turn on the lights, and it should happen. I want to say, unlock the door, and it should happen. It needs to be that easy. We also need to extend cloud computing to become fog computing, so that we can put the intelligence closer to the end devices. Oh, but I should stop there and make a comment about intelligence, because in a world of the Internet of Things, we actually don't, this is our belief at SmartThings, we actually shouldn't be building really intelligent devices. We should actually be trying to decouple the intelligence from the devices. The devices should only be as smart as they absolutely have to be, but we should keep the intelligence, the applications, separate from those devices. If we do that, we make systems more flexible. We allow devices to be reused for lots and lots of different purposes. But there's a thing about the computing fabric here that's important, which is that latency in an Internet of Things world how far away the intelligence is from the devices is actually important. We're doing demos next door at the Hyatt, and in our demo environment, we have to go all the way back to a data center that's in Virginia. And it's about a 200 millisecond round trip from here to Virginia and back. And that's measurable. That's important. That we would actually like that intelligence to be as close to the devices as it can be. And so what that means is that we're going to have what we call fog computing, or what Cisco has started to call fog computing. So what is fog computing going to look like? Well, fog computing is going to put computing power, computing infrastructure, close to the end devices. In the home, that could look like a Wi-Fi access point, or a television that actually acts as computing infrastructure. It could be a set-top box like the Amazon Fire TV that provides computing power. It could be our own SmartThings hub. It could be, a home computer. It could be a PC that actually becomes part of the cloud, part of the fog to provide computing infrastructure for your devices. Come on. It could be a car, right? Because part of the fog, part of the cloud computing infrastructure for devices that are wearable, what's the easiest way to get that close to you? Well, maybe it's to put computing infrastructure in your car. They could be appliances, things like refrigerators and dishwashers and so on. So there are lots of different ways that fog computing is going to show up in your home, in your business, in all different ways of our lives in order to get that computing power close to the end devices. Next, we have to reduce friction for connecting devices and create specialized networks with dedicated spectrum. This goes back to my statement about wanting to reinvent the home network. Right? If you have ever tried to connect a device to your home network that doesn't have a display on it, right? Things like the Belkin Wemo or the Philips Hue light bulbs, they don't have a display, right? And the process that you go through to get these devices connected is very painful. And we ought to be living in a world where when I go to the store and buy a connected device, I take it out of the package and turn it on and it's just connected, right? It's already online. In the same way that the Kindle e-book reader is just connected, right? I don't actually have to connect it to anything. But there's a problem with that, which I alluded to earlier, which is spectrum. We actually have to completely reinvent how devices connect. And that's especially important for battery-powered devices, devices that only need to send very small bits of information, but they need to do it frequently, right? We haven't engineered our networks to be able to handle the number of devices or the types of devices that we're going to be creating. And it's important to recognize as well that most of the connected devices that we're talking about don't exist yet. I'll say that again. Most of the connected devices that we are going to have in our lives in the next 10 years haven't been invented yet. So it's kind of silly to think that we know what the network needs to look like when we haven't even invented these devices yet. Finally, we need to simplify the overall user experience. This is something that we spend a great deal of time on at SmartThings because we have a goal of taking the Internet of Things and making it something that even my mother could use, right? And if I can get my 75-year-old mother to make use of a solution like ours, we've solved it. We need to do it from a discovery perspective so that people can figure out what they can do with these devices. We need to do it from a setup perspective, and we need to do it from an in-life experience perspective. All of these things are challenges that we still face for creating the reality that the Internet of Things offers us. And I would challenge all of you, while we're focusing at SmartThings on turning every home into a smart home, All of you should be thinking about how to reinvent the physical world, how to challenge all of those status quos, challenge the way things work, challenge everything you see, and think about whether it could be reinvented and done in a way that's better, in a way that's more efficient, in a way that's better for people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Jeff Haggins. The next speaker will be Mr. Masayuki Watanabe, founder and CEO of Cripper, a London-based e-learning company. Mr. Watanabe is a co-founder of DeNA, a Japanese mobile gaming giant. At DeNA, he was in charge of business development, M&A, and the company's overseas expansion. After he left DeNA, he founded Cripper in 2010. Since its inception, more than 8.5 million students from all over the world have learned on the Cripper platform. Cripper School, its main product, is being used in tens of thousands of classes across the world. Today, he will talk about the difficulties of building a global education platform. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome him to the podium.
Thank you for introduction. So good afternoon. My name is Masayuki Watanabe, and please allow me to use my papers because of my poor English, but so I'll do my best. I'm the founder and CEO of the London-based education company, Cripper. Okay, this is a picture. I'd like to be completely honest with you today. I want to tell you about all the difficulties we face as an edtech company in trying to build a global education platform. At first, let's get the boring part out of the way. Myself. I joined McKinsey as a graduate in 1997. I learned a lot of things, but my greatest luck was in meeting the brilliant Tomoko Namba, a business person whom I admire and with whom I was lucky enough to form a strong working relationship there. In 1999, so she left McKinsey, and I went with her together. We founded the social gaming company DeNA. Fortunately, DeNA succeeded as a startup. Now, their profit is more than $500 million US, and their employees are more than 2,000. In my 10 years at DeNA, I oversaw more projects and web services than I can remember, including e-commerce, online travel agency, and online auction, and international mergers and acquisition, and gaming, and many, many other sectors. It was really exciting experience in my life, a period of constant learning for me. But my time at DeNA is only half of the story, maybe less than half. My greatest inspiration in life has come from traveling. But what I learned on my travels had little to do with foreign cultures, or this planet's great history, or our heritage as human beings. And yet what I learned was more valuable and more pressing, more urgent than any of those things. I learned how lucky I was. Since my days as a student, I've been a keen traveler, and I've visited more than 30 countries. I spent some time in refugee camps and even helped building school equipment like bookshelves. While I saw volunteering, I was alarmed by this simple fact. If you are born in an impoverished country, your chance of getting a proper education are very small, limited. And without that vital education, your opportunities rapidly diminish. I saw the downward spiral. That was the starting point for Kuiper. So they are our real users. The idea is simple but powerful. I want to live in a world where anyone, regardless of their economic status and physical location, can cheaply or freely access education material of the highest quality. A world where children, for example, a world where children in rural Nigeria can learn mathematics from a leading professor in the world, so UK or US or I don't know, where a Japanese fisherman can learn about the best fishing technology from a great fishing teacher in Taiwan, maybe. At Kuiper, we like to call ourselves distributors of wisdom. Our aim is to revolutionize the way people learn and share knowledge by leveraging the mobile and internet technology. I founded Kuiper in London in December 2010. To data, so our platform has been used by more than 9 million learners, and they have answered more than 250 million questions. We've raised more than $10 million from leading venture capitals, such as Atomico in London, Globis Capital Partners in Tokyo, and 500 startups in the United States. We now have offices in London, Tokyo, and Manila, and we are expanding very aggressively, so especially in Asian countries. So this is our basic services. So quick snapshot of what the Kuiper platform looks like. So as you can see, our platform comprises 3 main components: creation, and learning and assessment. About creation, we work with hundreds of learning education companies and publishers and teachers to create the highest quality learning materials and make it all available for free to teachers from all over the world. About assessment, teachers, so classroom teachers, or maybe the craft school teachers, can take these materials and assign them to their students, whilst tracking and monitoring the progress of their students. Learning, students can receive their assignment whatever they are on, whenever internet-enabled devices they have. Now that you have some ideas of our vision and our method and our services, let me talk to you about those challenges I mentioned. After all, there are thousands of people around the world with similar idea, so maybe same idea, and visions. The edutech education technology industry, in particular, has seen many grand and fantastic visions ending in failure. Why is that so? After having worked in this industry for some years, I've discovered that there are 2 key challenges that we need to overcome for successes. The first is the comparative attitude of the edutech industry and teaching profession. The school is a difficulty, the second is the difficulty of getting the service right. And here are the lessons I've learned in trying to overcome these challenges. Okay, 3 lessons. The first lesson is balance. It's crucial to have a good balance between web service and education service. Most edutech startups tend to provide cutting-edge web technology-based services without much regard to its real proved academic value, academic impact. On the other side of things, traditional education companies often fail to take advantage of web technologies too often trying to merely replicate what has been successful in the old way. Balancing technology and tradition is hard, but essential. The second lesson is that experimentation is key. We are 100% responsible for the quality of our services, but it's arrogant to assume we can provide the best service from day one. Many companies fail with huge visions because they don't respond to the concerns of real initial users. Improvement and refinement must be iterative and respond to what users really need. Of course, we can't and shouldn't be too experimental with our real students, but we should be prepared to adapt when the data and voices tell us to. The last lesson is this. Technology doesn't matter. This is the most important. What matters is how it's applied. We tend to believe that new technologies are always revolutionary and disruptive. But the essence of education hasn't changed over centuries. We shouldn't overestimate the impact of new technology or try it for revolution's sake. In EdTech, education always comes first. Those are the three key lessons that I've learned regarding EdTech pitfalls in the years since I founded Kuiper. Of course, there are still lessons to learn for us, and the learning curve will remain steep. But I believe we are getting closer to providing the best online learning experience. So let me now introduce Kuiper School video, our fragment product. 3 minutes.
I can't imagine teaching without this now. This has given my class a real boost. I can't wait to see it spread further across the Philippines.
Leora is one of many teachers in the Philippines who's discovering a powerful new teaching tool. She can assess all 90 of her students' work instantly. She's able to identify the strengths and weaknesses of her students in a matter of moments. And she can assign them class or homework tasks, all with a few taps on her tablet. Leora is using Kuiper School. UNESCO has highlighted the global teacher shortage the world is facing. Not enough teachers means overcrowded classes and shorter learning hours for students. In some cases, the shortage of teachers means children will receive no education at all. It also means that across the world, teachers will have to teach more students more effectively than ever before. In the Philippines, the average class size in many schools is around 50 students. In some countries, there are as many as 80 students to every single teacher, nearly 4 times the OECD average. The advent of the mobile internet has given rise to new possibilities. Internet-capable devices are becoming increasingly widespread throughout the world, even where other privations are a normal part of daily life. That's why we created Kuiper School. We want any child with an internet connection to be able to learn effectively. And we want to empower the world's overburdened teachers to equip them to teach more students more effectively. First, we created educational content that's aligned to the national curriculum, arranged into lessons and multiple-choice quizzes. With this base of content, teachers can assign topics directly to their students' devices, whether desktop, tablet or smartphone. All assignments are stored in the cloud. Assessment can be measured instantly, without the need for paperwork. Students can study anywhere with an internet connection, whether in an internet cafe or on their smartphone. It doesn't have to start in a computer lab. Leora sets homework assignments from her own home. Her students will receive the assignment the next time they log in. Lorraine is one of Leora's students. She's taking her assignment in an internet cafe, in between Facebook sessions and Candy Crush Saga. Keela has finished her assignments but wants to keep on learning. She can access the whole curriculum on her tablet and find the topics she needs to revise before her exams. We're a business, not a charity, but we promise that the core service will be free forever. We're looking at ways to offer premium features to those who can afford it without ever compromising our free offering. At the moment, we're working in the United States, Japan, and the Philippines, but we're looking to grow quickly over the coming months. Education and technology make the world a better place. We believe in bringing them together.
So this is our service, Kuiper School. Now we are providing this service to Philippines and Indonesia and Vietnam and Thailand and UK, Turkey, Russia, and United States and Japan, a lot of countries. So it's easy for us to adapt our curriculum to national local curriculum, and so seeking for initial teachers and so ask them to penetrate the service to the colleagues. So next, I want to explain about challenges for Kuiper School. The first problem we encountered was localization. So we have a global vision, but education remains a local service, and the materials teachers use are different at every level, from national to district, school to school, and even from teachers to teachers. Even when teaching the same grade and same subject, so different teachers want to teach differently and want to use the service differently. So we have to accommodate that need. And conservative attitude is also a very difficult issue for us. It's hard to break old habits. This is particularly true for teachers who have often been working with their own methods over many years in their classrooms. And they are very confident about their own method, education method. So asking to change their habits often requires a lot of work and support. Most fundamentally of all, we can't take our eyes off the effectiveness. Will our service make kids smarter? This is the most basic question for anyone in this industry, but one which a surprising number of companies cannot easily answer. It's good service, but so nobody knows it's efficient or efficacy is high or not. With Kuiper School, we've been managing to tackle and solve these challenges. As a result, our current retention rate is retention of usage of teachers, and viral rate are very high. Once teachers start using our service, they tend to like it and are prepared to keep using it for a very long time. And many of our initial teachers introduced Kuiper School to their peers, the colleagues. This is a viral effect. So by definition, teachers love sharing and teaching something to colleagues, something to others. So viral marketing is very effective in this industry. Some have been voluntarily creating tutorial videos and their own educational content, and even making and wearing unofficial Kuiper t-shirts. It's a pleasure to work with teachers that have such a pioneering spirit, and also we've been working to see what works and what doesn't work. In doing so, we've tapped into vast amounts of learning data from users, real users. With proper research, we've learned a lot firsthand about the shape of true adaptive learning and true gamification in education. Now, I can say with confidence, yes, Kuiper is making kids smarter. I always tell my team that we are making progress on our ascent of Mount Education. But there is still a long way to go, but what drives us forward is the smile of the learners. We are here to provide them with what they want to learn eagerly. Thank you very much.
We would like to thank Mr. Watanabe once again for his excellent presentation. The next speaker will be Dr. Ted Chang, Chief Technology Officer and Vice President of Quanta Computer. He oversees corporate technology strategy and global research partnerships. He also serves as President of Quanta Research Institute for Advanced Technology Research and Future Product Development. In 2004, Dr. Chang initiated the 10-year Quanta Research Collaboration Project with Massachusetts Institute of Technology and has led the project since then. He is also a board director of APOC Foundation and Digimax, the best 3D animation film winner of Tokyo Anime 2008 and LA Movie Festival 2010. The topic of his talk today will be today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Please help me welcome Dr. Chang.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ted Chang from Quanta Computer, and I think I get used to stand here, but I just want to make sure that this can work. It's both my privilege and honor to be here to share our thoughts about destructive technology. I was a little bit hesitant to talk about this, this topic because anything we are doing right now, we cannot show to others or show to the public. And although the Quanta is recognized as the one of the biggest computer maker in the world, there is no commercial time. I don't want to tell you about anything about the numbers that we ship to the how many computers that we ship to the customer, how many servers we make every year. Instead, I would like to share with you about the challenges that we are facing, because Quanta is the companies that everybody here try to disrupt. We are a well-established company, unlike other new startups, and so we are facing challenges every day, and so we have to bridge what we are doing today and to the future, and that's exactly what what we are trying to do. And so, as an engineer, the first thing we should have is strong passion. We should have passions that we can invent something that we can change the people's life or even to change the culture. We have to make something. So, in such a way that we come up with some ideas. Those ideas, some of the ideas might be big, some of the ideas might be very, very small, but with that kind of passions, you come up with good ideas that can help people. And with that kind of ideas, you started to think about how to build the real things. And then you have products. At the very beginning, of course, if the idea is new, the technology is new, you have to do everything all on your own. You have to do research, you have to do product development. You will need to also tailor-make some components that you need to make sure that you have the products so that you can transform your passion into the real products. And then you have to bring the products to the market. At the very beginning, because you do very deep, vertical integrations, you do everything on your own. You only ship, few units, but you have higher margin. And that's the beginning of, all the successful, products. And then you go to expansion. And right now, You have to think of, you want to ship more units, and of course you can enjoy only less margin. But to do that, you will need to outsource. You need different kind of partnerships. Sometimes you need a partner like Quanta to help you to scale up your business. And that's the expansion stage. And then, because there are more competitors, and you will need to outsource more than just manufacturing. You might also need to outsource the supply chain management. You might also need to outsource the technology research as well. And then you will have even more competitors. And you try to do cost down, and you do more outsourcing. And then, you will have more, the users, shipments every year, but your margin is getting thinner than ever. And so, actually, this line stands for the PC market right now. It's huge, but the margin is very thin. So, actually, we are in a dilemma. So my point is that as the CTO of the company, what should we do? Because many smart people like Chris, like Jeff, actually they're creating different kinds of ideas. They try to disrupt our business. And so we need different kinds of innovations to keep our business going. Because we're already in the market. We don't want to be disrupted. And what kind of things that we can do for the future. So if we take a look at this, many good ideas coming out from the market every day. Even every hours, people talk to me about new device, new concepts. We don't need a laptop PC anymore. Then our business is gone. And so basically, for us, disruption is purely nature. It's not a new thing. It's nature. We build business, and other people disrupt it, and we build another business, and people come and conquer you, and they want to take over the business. And so it's purely nature. It's not a new thing for me. So that's the nature of the IT business. And so if we take a look, look at of this disruption, technology in different way, we take a look at the S-curve. And basically, this is a standard, product S-curve. And there, of course, there are many chasms. And what our colleagues is doing every day is to solve the product problem. And sometimes the production problem. Sometimes the supply chain management problem, distribution problem. They try to solve the problem every day. But oftentimes, if you close the chasms, there are many different kinds of disruptive technologies that might change your business model, might change the way you build the product, might change the product definition as well. So at this point of time, you have to think about the strategy. You have to watch out what kind of technology is beneath this level, the water level, and you have to be very, very careful about that. And it's very, very important that, back to year 2000, Quanta was established back in year 1988. In 1999, Quanta is the biggest laptop manufacturer in the world. In year 2000, we started to think about the future. At the time, the biggest impact in the industry is actually the broadband mobile internet. So internally, we think, the pipe, the bandwidth, will replace many things, just like Jeff just mentioned. If there is a pipe connected your device, your laptop, to somewhere inside the internet, then, of course, you don't need to carry a very thick laptop with you. You can carry a very thin device with you, or even a piece of glass with you. Okay, with only the small battery, but you can increase the portabilities, and you can do things like that. And if one day that happens, then our business is gone, because we are making laptop. So started at year 2000, we follow, the computing storage. We do everything inside a data center. If there is a device can connect to the internet, and more people don't really need a laptop. They need the storage computing provision by the data center. Then we are out of business. So we started to do, at the time nobody talked about cloud computing. Okay, there is some people say that that's utility computing. Some people said that's brick computing. Some people said that's grid computing. But actually, we don't care. All we know is that kind of new technology and the paradigm shifts will surely disrupt our business model. So in year 2000, we make one decision. We started to do many things, many heavy devices, like server, storage, network switch inside the data center to prepare. But there are also some new technologies on cycle life. If you are close to the end of life of the computer, you have to think about what will be the next new things. And oftentimes, this kind of technology and this kind of ideas are all from academia. It used to be from the garage, and then moved to dormitory, and then moved to living room for social network. But that kind of behavior will surely disrupt our business again. And this is a reason why we want to be very close to the academia and to understand what's the needs for the future, what's the technologies that the academia are doing for the future. And so the next thing is not about closing the chasm. It's about how to make a change. If there is no PC anymore, what are the things that we should do for the future? It's a company. Company need to survive. And we need to understand the future. For example, nobody in this forum would like to talk to discuss anything about the hardware because it's old. But we are one of the biggest hardware companies. What are the things we need to do? And so you can see that there is a chasm here. Actually, there is a storm of disruption here. And there is a big gap between here and the new future. So basically, it's very dangerous. But it also stands for you have new opportunity for the future. And that's exactly the reason why we want to establish a corporate research to work on something not now, not today, to work on something for tomorrow, and with that kind of efforts to connect everybody to the day after tomorrow. So I simply try to explain you the role of corporate research in Quanta and what we are trying to do right now. And every day, actually, we found new storms, new typhoon, new hurricanes, and it's all very destructive. And so this market, the whole PC market, is very mature right now, and everybody wants to seek for the next generations of the market. And so we built Quanta Research Institute back in year 2000. And we only do two kinds of research. One is that we want to avoid technical surprise. And the other is simply that we want to create variable surprise. That's it. Whatever thing we do, we want to make sure that it's variable and it can contribute to the company. And so our position is very simple. Harvard Business School would like to understand whether Quanta Research Institute is a rainforest or it's a hothouse. It's an idea. It's in which this means that are you incubating the new ideas on your own, or you simply take ideas from the rainforest and incubate that in the hothouse? Basically, we do both. Because you cannot only incubating other people's ideas. Sometimes you have to make sure that you can take your ideas as a products and make it to the market. And it's a very special research institute because we can also do business on our own. And to connect to the academia, so we connect to many different kind of universities, but the biggest one is MIT Computer Science and Artificial Laboratory. In year 2000, we called that Project Tea Party. At Crazy Professors, Steve Ward, he developed this logo. He said we simply try to throw the traditional PC in the Boston Harbor to create another revolution in the States. And right now we are more focused on the cloud technology. So the project's renamed as Project Cumulus. Cumulus stands for the cloud of rains, and rain stands for water, and water stands for fortune for Chinese. So actually, it's good fortune cloud. And our value proposition is very simple. Many people do researches only for research purpose, but in quantum research, we simply want to make sure that we can solve the real problems. And the technologies that we have right now is the end-to-end cloud solutions from app to the software inside the cloud, and we can enable the whole cloud solutions. So it is exactly what we are doing right now. And we are developing different kind of cloud solutions, not only for to provision AWS services, but also to develop different kind of applications with focus on the human being and on the care business. So basically, we scare and because we care. And if you want to provision care as a services anywhere, again, this is very similar to that Jeff just mentioned. Okay. In the future, basically, there will be many wearable sensors or actuators. You will have a smart mobile, and you will live in a smart environment embedded with many different kinds of sensors and actuators. And you have clouds to provision the application and softwares. And basically, you have your own social network. The connected devices, they form their own Internet of Technologies, of things. And also, there might be fog computing inside. And for clouds, you are doing big data analytics. And so for us, everything is as a service. And this is, to provision this kind of services anytime, anywhere you want. And basically, you need a cloud or many clouds. And, oops, I'm running out of battery. And you need, oops. Yeah, so thank you. So, could I have more time? Oops. I don't know why. Strange. Okay. So this is a future environment we are thinking. So basically, there will be sensor networking, wearable technology, low-power Bluetooth or some other technology, then connect to smartphone. Then you can have 4G, 5G, whatever, and then connect to the cloud. And that's the future environment. And so all kind of cloud solutions that we are building to this kind of environments. But the most important thing is that what kind of surprise that we can create. And one of the simple things that I would like to show you, I won't show you the hardware devices, but I want to show you some technology that we are can you see, the baby is breathing using a very simple video camera, a low-cost camera? And this is the original source. And this is the, the video real-time after computing. So if you implement a very low-cost video here, you'll be able to understand who is breathing and who is not listening to my speech. And another thing is that for Chinese, human pulse is very important. But if I can magnify some of the micro vibrations of the hand, then I'll be able to see the pulse. And this is the power of computing. But we won't, simply provision the computing or storage as a service like Amazon. We try to provision a very special computing so that using that kind of computations, you'll be able to develop different kind of applications. And what about baby's face? We have a heart here. We pump the blood to our face every time. If you magnify the, the color, and then that can help you to, analyze the vital signs of a baby, which means that you can see that, the baby's face is after, processing. You can understand, his ECG without taking the, special equipment to the body of the baby. And that's another way of thinking the power of computing, not only the, the traditional computers doing, share video or share, emails. And so I want to thank you. And as an engineer, we always believe that the best way to predict the future is simply to invent it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chang, for joining us today. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we conclude the keynote presentations for this afternoon's forum. We will now take a brief break. 我们现在进行的是中场休息时间。There will be a panel discussion and Q&A session right after the break. We will break for 15 minutes. 我们休息时间是15分钟。Those of you who wish to raise questions are advised to write them down. So write down your questions, please, ahead of time on the question submission sheet contained in your conference information packet. So please write down questions if you have any and submit these sheets to our conference staff during the break. 我们是否能够提醒您，今天的论坛的最后，我们安排了讨论时间以及 Q&A 的时间。如果各位贵宾您有任何的问题，我们提醒您利用休息时间将问题写在我们的所提供的提问单上，并且交给论坛的工作人员。那么我们会转交给论坛的主持人，事前呢来做整理，并且请主持人视情况来安排讲者来回答。May I also remind you to please take a few minutes to fill out the forum questionnaire, also contained in the forum information packet. Those who return the questionnaire to the registration desk or any of our conference staff will receive taxi vouchers as a token of our appreciation. 请各位贵宾也能够利用休息时间来填写问卷，并且交给我们现场的工作人员。我们将提供计程车的乘车券作为小礼物，所以请各位能够利用您手上的提问单，或者是大会的用休息时间来填写问卷，并且呢能够利用15分钟的休息时间来转交给我们现场的工作人员。We will now break for 15 minutes, and the forum will resume at 4:25. 我们接下来的议程将于4:25分准时开始。谢谢。